We are here with Patricia Skalka. She's a local mystery writer, author, and let's talk about your first book, which is right here, Death Stalks Door County. This is it right here. This is the first one you wrote, and it's set in Door County, Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's such a beautiful, idyllic setting up there. The last thing you think about is some sort of murder happening up there, but you managed to create a scene there where we've got murder and mayhem happening in this beautiful location.
Well, it was actually the location that inspired the concept for the story, because I was sitting there one day on the beach, and it was just a stunningly gorgeous day.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting in the very same spot at night, and it was a night when there was no moon, and it was like, you know, no starlight, nothing. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and there was like a rustle of wind in the bushes behind me. And it was kind of creepy because it was so dark, and I kept thinking, wow, you know, anything could happen here. And that gave me the idea to have a story in a place where you had this totally idyllic surface, the veneer of just beauty, you know, travel brochure kind of wonderfulness, and then these sinister forces at work beneath the surface. And that, the whole idea grew from that, just that concept.
Right, and this is part of the Dave Kubiak Door County Mystery Series. Who's Dave Kubiak?
Dave Kubiak is a former Chicago homicide detective who goes up to Door County to escape his past. He's a broken man. He's very burdened with grief and guilt. He doesn't want to have anything to do with anybody. He's kind of morose. He's a loner. He's not a very nice guy in the beginning. Yeah. And he gets pulled into solving the mystery because he knows what's going on.
So he happens to be up there just vacationing,
no,
getting
he's
away
working
from it all?
up there.
Oh, he is working
He's
up there.
working up there as a ranger. He retrained as a ranger. He didn't want anything to do with police work. You know, he had enough of death.
Right.
And he's the guy who can figure it out. And I needed somebody from the outside because of the nature of the story, because the story goes through many layers and it goes into the past. So it couldn't be a local who knew the people, who knew the old grudges and animosities and wrongdoings. It had to be someone from the outside who had to put all the pieces together. Yeah. So I had to have someone come from some other place, and there are plenty of people from Chicago who go up there. And the interesting thing is that when the book starts, all he wants to do is get out of there. He really doesn't like being there. He feels like a misfit. Everybody's cheerful, people wave, you know, that's not his thing. And by the end of the book, well, he makes a commitment and it becomes his new home.
And he eats every morning at Al Johnson's Pancake House.
Not every morning, but often enough.
And then that followed Death at Gills Rock. This is her second novel right here. Gills Rock is another location in Door County, right?
It's a very tiny fishing village way at the north end of the peninsula. Yeah. And the interesting thing about that, I mean, by the time I finished the first book, I knew I was going to do a series set in Door County. I liked my characters so much, I wasn't going to leave them alone, even though that was the original intention of just, you know, one and done. But the idea for the second book was based on the characters, not on the setting, even though I knew it was going to be in Door County, but I wanted to do something that involved World War II veterans. And, you know, that I had to do it soon because time was going to run out on me. And I wanted to do something that involved, obviously, soldiers or people from Door County. And I was talking to one of my beach neighbors up there about the Coast Guard. And she said, oh, yeah, you know, the Coast Guard was very much involved. The Sturgeon Bay contingent was involved in the Aleutian Islands. Well, I didn't know anything about the Aleutian Islands in World War II, so I had to do my research and come up with a storyline. So that was the genesis for the second one.
So one thing leads to another, and again, your journalism background came in very handy there, doing the research.
Oh, you have to, yes. You know, people say write what you know, but if you do that, you end up in this little tiny box, unless you're, you know, some kind of super genius. You can write what you learn if you're willing to do the research. And I did that for both of the books, and for the third one, which is coming out in the fall.